On top of all the terrible side effects you can experience with psychiatric drugs is the strangest fact of all. They don't cure anything. So what do? They alter your behavior by deadening your feelings. This not only prevents a person from sorting things out, but numbs them to the world around them. There's even a name for it: depersonalization.
I've had patients who've been given very large doses of psychoactive drugs over a period of about a year, and basically destroyed their sense of self.
They don't care almost about anything. You could go up to someone and start yelling at them, and if they're on the large enough cocktail, they won't do anything. They become almost drones.
So they're literally lobotomizing our soldiers with these drugs. I'm sorry. I'm just being very direct and honest with my experience of over 200 injured warriors. It's almost like being in a mental hospital with lobotomized patients. I'm sorry. It's just awful.
And the depersonalization gets really dangerous when the drug creates another common side effect.
If someone is numbed like that, they're less likely to be concerned about the consequences of their behavior and might resort then to impulsive actions, violent actions.
Some of the effects of the drugs that we're aware of, that the veterans we've dealt with have come across, have been things like more anxiety, more anger.
They're having all these fits of anger, aggression, they're getting in fights with their significant other.
And of course what this has led to is just a really horrendous number of domestic shootings, domestic beatings, child, wife abuse.
The numbers back it up. Since 2006, violent sex crimes and domestic abuse in the military have increased more than 30%, and child abuse is up 43%, all while the psychiatric drugging of our troops has been going out the roof. And then there are the cases where a soldier under the influence of psychiatric drugs loses it all.
This one particular morning, the soldier was in our unit, and most of the soldiers in our unit are on some type of medication. And she was waiting for the soldier. And when she walked in, he was locking and loading his weapon. And she asked him, "What are you doing?" And he looked at her, he said, "I don't know." And she said, "You were locking and loading," which means he's putting his ammo in his weapon. And she asked him, and she said, "What were you gonna do?" He said, "I don't know if I was just gonna shoot myself or shoot up everybody in this building, and then myself." And we were there.
May 11th, 2009. Sergeant John Russell opens fire in an Army combat stress clinic in Baghdad. He kills 2 officers and 3 enlisteds. The day before, his psychiatrist had prescribed him antidepressants. March 11th, 2012. In a remote village in Afghanistan, Staff Sergeant Robert Bales murders 16. 9 were children. Before his murder spree, Bales had snorted the psychiatric drug Valium while also drinking alcohol. September 16th, 2013. Navy veteran Aaron Alexis brings a shotgun to Washington, D.C.'s Navy Yard, where he kills 12 people in cold blood. According to reports, Alexis had been prescribed the antidepressant trazodone.
He talked about it. He said he went to the VA and they would give him some medicine.
These are just a few of many in the hands of mental health professionals just prior to committing horrific acts of violence. There's Army Private First Class David Lawrence, who murdered a Taliban commander in his prison cell while on Zoloft and trazodone. Terrence Tyler, a former Marine who gunned down 2 co-workers, then himself, at a New Jersey supermarket. He had been diagnosed with major depression and was taking Prozac. And Eddie Ray Routh, who murdered a decorated Navy SEAL. He had just gotten out of a mental hospital 4 days earlier, where he had been treated for PTSD.
Drugs and weapons do not mix. Okay, it's a recipe for disaster all by itself.
They're seeing things different. Their mind has been altered, their brain has been altered. Their judgment and reasoning is is not what it would have been without these medications.
It's the mind that makes the decision of when to shoot and what to shoot. It's the mind. If you alter the mind and you imbalance the mind, which is what psychiatric drugs do, you change the results of who or what gets shot on the battlefield or at home after the battle is over.
Psychiatric drugs don't cause violence only in soldiers. They provoke people from all walks of life to commit deadly mass shootings in our homes, workplaces, and schools. Then there's the matter of what they might do to themselves.